Hi, it's Mayor Walter Sendzik, and welcome back to Our Home with Mayor Sendzik. And I just want to first start by thanking your TV Niagara for broadcasting the Remembrance Day ceremony in St. Catharines at Memorial Park. It was a beautiful day, and the Legion, Branch 24, did a remarkable job just really bringing together the importance of Remembrance Day, but in a different way. And I just want to thank all the viewers at home who took the time to tune in and watch what is a very important event in the calendar of our community, which is remembering the sacrifices of those who fought for our freedoms.
Good morning. What a difference a year makes. Last year we were here in the midst of a snowstorm with 1,000+ people. Veterans, members of the military, including our own Lincoln and Welland Regiment. A special welcome to the new commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Chris Canavan for the Lincoln and Welland Regiment, and to all the people who are listening and watching there today. On behalf of our St. Catharines MP, Chris Biddle, our St. Catharines MPP, Jenny Stevens, and our Chair of the Region, Jim Bradley, I'd like to bring some remarks.
So this episode today is getting us ready for the holiday season. It's about how do we give back to the community and also talking to an organization that does so much for St. Catharines throughout the year. So starting at the top of the show, we're going to have from the Niagara Health Foundation, and Chris Green is going to be joining us talking about a new way of celebrating the lights, if you will, of the holidays. And then after the break, we're going to have a member of Rotary joining us talking about their Mega TV Auction. It is heading into the holidays. We are in November, and we are seeing the numbers of COVID cases in our community go up. We are obviously in a second wave, and the impact of the second wave, the size of the second wave is still within our control. And it's within our control because, as we've been hearing from public health, the important part of containing the virus is about how we go about our day, and that includes our social circle, our social bubble, if you will. What we've been seeing over the past number of weeks is an increase in cases tied to people going out to parties, people going into places where there isn't a lot of that distancing between people. They're removing their masks. And in order for us to truly enjoy the holidays, in order for us to truly be thankful for being able to be around our close family members, is making sure that we're doing our part to contain the virus. And that means as we head into the winter season, we've got to maintain that physical distancing. We've got to make sure that we're constantly washing our hands. And I get it, it's cold outside, you're wearing gloves. The last thing you want to do when you get home is take off your gloves and remember to wash your hands. But you got to be doing that. You got to use the sanitization that is being provided at retailers, at restaurants. And you've got to be able to also keep that social network really tight. And so as hard as that is, as we head into the holidays, if we can get those numbers really driven down like we saw in the summertime, it opens up the community more. It means that we're able to safely be amongst friends and family as the numbers go down. But as those numbers continue to climb, we've really got to tighten all of our interactions with the broader public. And that means our broader social circle. So we want to have an outstanding holidays. And in order for us to get there, we've got to make sure that we're really looking after ourselves. And for those who just celebrated Diwali, I just want to say I hope you had a wonderful Diwali Festival of Lights, and that's for our Indian community. And again, such an important part of the calendar for the Indian community, and at the same time, we've asked them to make sure they keep their social circles really tight. So if we all just do this, and we've heard about vaccines, we've heard about opportunities coming in 2021 about vaccines, But if we all just do this now, it means that as we get through the winter and into the early spring, we won't be in that really restricted state. We'll be in more of what they call a preventative state, which is how do we continue to prevent it from spreading in our community. So keep doing the amazing job that you're doing. I know it's difficult for a lot of friends and families. I know it's difficult for businesses, but I have to say the way St. Catharines has responded has been outstanding. You've all done an amazing job. So joining me today, I have Chris Green, and actually from the Niagara Health Systems Foundation, and it's interesting because of the impact of COVID-19 on Niagara Health, and it's an important discussion that we're having, and it's also an opportunity to talk about how you can give back in our community. Chris has been with the Niagara Health Foundation since 2018, worked at Brock University, worked in the student union, for the student union for 13 years, active in the community. Anyone who has known the Toolbox program, and that's James and Chris are involved in that, and as well, he's a board member with Distress Center Niagara, and he's also president of Minor Baseball Association, which is, Chris, you're a very well-rounded person. Clearly you're involved in the community. You're involved in the social side of what's happening in our community, but also in the kids side, the activity side, making sure kids are keeping active and being able to provide something like baseball. And in terms of the Health Foundation, so what are you seeing as someone who's working very closely with the health system, and what are you seeing in terms of the impact that COVID's had on the giving part or the impact on the health system itself?
Yes, I think what we've seen so far is the community during March, April, and May, when this started to unfold, really started to get creative and found some innovative ways to kind of say, hey, we don't know how to help, but here's what we can do. We saw folks step up with tons of homemade masks, with people finding 3D printers to print face shields, to just find any kind of PPE they had laying around the house, whether they were doing a drywall project and had N95s they could drop off, to all the way where like Niagara College and Brock University bring huge loads of PPE into the system. So everyone's put their hand up and said, how do we help? And they started getting together. And it was pretty remarkable to see how many masks, how many face shields and gloves we could pull together early on during the pandemic. The health staff have gone over and above. They've been working nonstop. We're fortunate to see kind of how patients are worked with it, because we're in the lobby of the St. Catharines Hospital for one of our offices. We see the visitors and the volunteers working at the front, screening people, getting them in and out, and it's a really seamless process. It's difficult because they're only letting one person in at a time, but it seems like they're all working together and everyone's pulling in the right direction. So,
and one of the goals for the healthcare system, and because I think sometimes it gets overlooked, is it's to prevent, if we continue to contain the virus, it prevents an overwhelming response on the healthcare system itself, which you would see.
Yeah, and that was the early concern, and they started to see that in the early spikes in Niagara, where they were worried about how many folks were going to be in the ICU, how many folks were going to need ventilators. There's only so much hospital equipment to go around, and the hospitals weren't and aren't currently equipped to handle that major influx of critically ill patients. So when they came to us and they said, here's a list of items that we need to go and stock up on, some of those were ventilators. And we had some folks in the community step up and say, you know what, we're going to put together a fundraising drive, or we're going to ask our members to come forward and help fund ventilators. A new ventilator costs $66,000 to bring those in. So we had a couple of groups step up early on to help us there.
And then someone may say, well, why isn't the government paying for the new ventilators? And this is where the role of the foundation comes in.
Yeah, exactly. So the foundation picks up where the government takes care of keeping the lights on, the building open, paying the staff in the hospitals, heavy loads and infrastructure builds. But regular everyday equipment is taken care of by foundations like ours, donations from companies, businesses, and individuals. So we take care of beds, IV poles, new MRI machines, defibrillators. All of those items get funded by donors.
So that comes from the community.
Yeah.
And so as we head into the holiday season, there's a great opportunity to combine the efforts of the healthcare workers in terms of recognizing their efforts, and at the same time giving back during the celebratory season. So tell us a bit about what you've got planned for this holiday season.
Yeah. So we run a program called the Celebration of Lights. It launched on the 14th at a tree lighting ceremony in Niagara Falls.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's what we have to do. Thank you.
We've got tree lighting ceremonies coming up with all the cities. We've got the region on the 19th, the city of St. Catharines with you folks on the 22nd, and then the city of Welland on the 25th. They're going to light the trees there, and it's going to signal the launch of our campaign. The way it works is we're telling a story about a little girl named Ella. She spent 9 days in the hospital with a burst appendix. She was 9 years old, and they were during COVID. So her mom had to be with her, but no other family could come in and see. And this story came to us from the mother, Lindsay. She reached out and wanted to talk to us about how compassionate the staff were and how amazing they were and how scared she was dealing with Ella, that they sat with her all night for the 9 days. They took care of them. They made them feel safe. They wanted to give back, so they made a donation. And then we decided we're going to feature this as our story that we send out to donors because of showing how far over and above, not just medical care to the health care providers provide, but they really turn into people's family during COVID. They've been there for them. They're the only people they can see, the patients, right? So it's a really good story. The way it works is if you go online to lightsforhealth.com, or you call into the foundation, or you send in through the mail, any donations over $50 will go on a light bulb that goes onto the light to the walls and the windows in one of the hospitals. Yeah, one of those right there. Yeah.
So what you have here is you've got this very nicely designed. You got different colors.
Yeah, 5 different colors. Yeah.
And with your donation, you write the name on the back, and it goes on, and then it'll go in the windows of the hospital that you are donating, the community you're donating to.
So if your loved ones are in St. Catharines, it'll go on the windows there, Niagara Falls, and so forth. All the funds raised are going to go to urgent needs in the hospital. And when we say urgent needs, it's essentially when items come to the top of the list for priorities for funding for equipment for the hospital, that pool of money is where they can go into it and they can get access to it quickly so they can purchase the equipment they need.
And so you also have a double impact campaign that's part of the Celebration of Lights. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, this is new for us this year. Electra Incorporated stepped up. They're going to be matching dollar for dollar every donation made between December 1st and December 7th, up to a maximum of $10,000. They've been a great partner with us. They're helping us out with all the tree lighting ceremonies, and they're one of our big community leader partners, and they've done a lot for us. Electra also stepped up during COVID and purchased a mask sterilizer out of a Clean Works machine from Beamsville that's at Niagara Falls that cleans N95 masks. So did Rotary International. They bought 2 of those machines to make sure the staff had the PPE they have. So Electra's been a huge partner with us.
Yeah, and I think that's a story we can sort of finish on, is that you've got Electra, which is a company that City of St. Catharines is involved in. They've given back and they're matching on this campaign. You have Rotary, which stepped up and provided funding for those PPE cleaning sanitation machines that are being actually produced here in Niagara and Beamsville at Clean Works. And you've got so many stories like you told about Ella that really capture the spirit of the season. And so what we're hoping for is that we're turning the switch on in St. Catharines in the coming days. And Niagara Falls has already done it, and other communities are going to be turning the switches on to their lights. And we hope that it lights up the idea that those lights stand for something. They stand for giving back. They stand for compassion and care, all the things that the Niagara Health stands for, and Niagara Health Foundation is raising funds for. So Chris, I wish you all the best for the holiday season. I know that our community will step up, and they will continue to step up and support Niagara Health. When you look at the frontline workers, I couldn't be more proud of the Niagara Health System and what they've done, in addition to the people working in our long-term care and those working in Hotel du Shaver and all the other healthcare providers have really shown that the heroes during this pandemic are the frontline workers of the healthcare system. So I want to thank you for everything you're doing and wish you all the best for a holiday. And so after the break, we'll have Melissa DeBeau from Rotary, who's going to be joining us talking about the Mega TV Auction. Hi, welcome back to our home of Mayor Sendzik, and we just heard from Chris Green from the Niagara Health Foundation talking about their Festival of Lights and what it means to the foundation. And joining me now is Melissa DeBeau from Hospice Niagara. She's a finance specialist, but she's here to talk about Rotary because she is a Rotarian, been involved with Rotary for the last 4 years. And are you part of the Downtown Rotary St. Catharines Club?
Yes, I am.
And I say that because I just want to plug the fact that I was also a member and am a member of the Downtown Rotary St. Catharines Club. And it is a dynamic, they're all dynamic.
They
Rotary
really are.
across Niagara is amazing. and the downtown club for me, it gave me a lot of insight as to what Rotary really does in the city of St. Catharines. And I think I joined about 12, 13 years ago, and just to see how the different events, whether it's Rotary Rib Fest, whether it's the TV auction, or some of the smaller sort of Rotary things that get done, all contributes to the amazing part of what Rotary stands for, which is
service above self.
there you go, service above self. And it's such an important concept, because I think that's the foundation of Rotarians, is your service above self. So give to your community before looking after yourself in some ways.
Absolutely.
And you took on a big task. I'm just going to say it, because I remember the Rotary TV auctions of past years. And it was one of those things where, I don't want to talk at a school, Melissa, but we were, who wants to be the chair? And everyone's head would go down, the hands would stay on the table. And it was always the people who put their hand up and said, I'll take that on, that I looked at and went, you're a brave soul, because it's
Right.
huge.
Yes, yeah, it is a big role. Fortunately, so I'm the chair of the Auction Advisory Committee for the Rotary Club of St. Catharines. I don't have the big role, which is the chair of the steering committee. That's Hugh Graham,
Yes.
and he is definitely the brave one, because he certainly has a lot more on his plate than I do. Definitely consider myself very fortunate. We have an amazing advisory committee as well as steering committee this year, and there's been a lot of new challenges presented. But our members have stepped up and worked together, and it's actually made my job a lot easier than anticipated.
So it's interesting, because the TV auction has shifted in years. Like, this is a different year. Obviously, we understand that we're going through different times, but Rotary had already to shift its TV auction a bit, because online buying had become such a more impactful part of retailing. And you already saw the shift happening a couple of years ago, where prior to maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it was very much you watch your TV Niagara, you sit in front of your phone and you're dialing in, trying to get the highest bid on an item that you really want to purchase. And it's changed over the last couple of years.
Yes.
So tell us, what is the TV auction in terms of how can people get ready for the holidays through the TV auction? And then how do people get involved in the purchasing of some really unique items that people can give away for Christmas?
Yeah, so in the last year or two, we have certainly made a pivot to make it more accessible online. Prior to becoming a Rotarian, I can remember volunteering at the Penn Center, where you're sitting there and you're answering the phones, and it's really loud, and the train's going by, and I mean, that certainly was it was a lot more exciting than the online portion. However, making the bidding available online has opened it up to a lot of new people who would like to participate. It certainly has made it a little bit easier. Online, there's a thing called proxy bid, so you can go in and you can look at the item that you want to bid on, and then you can put your proxy bid in. So say the item's worth $100 and you want to pay $100 because you really want that item. You would put in $100. The system would put in your first bid, which would say be $20. If somebody else comes in and overbids you, then the system automatically will increase your bid incrementally. So it doesn't mean because you've entered the proxy bid of $100 that you're going to pay $100. Wow. It just means that the system will help keep you as the winning bidder. So that certainly makes things a little bit easier for people who, people are busy and they can't be necessarily watching the auction for 3 straight days. Yeah. And so this ensures that they have the option of getting the items that they really, really want. So of course this year, because of the COVID restrictions and such, we're going to be working with a little bit of tighter crew. There's definitely a skeleton crew here in the studio as well as in the warehouse. We're very fortunate that Your TV donates the studio space as well as all of their staff, and they come in and they help us out with that, which is huge, because we wouldn't be able to do that without that. And of course, like I said, it's all donated, so that's not an expense to us, which means at the end of the day, any proceeds from the auction are that much greater, which means it's more money for us to give back to the community. So we're very fortunate there.
I left the country for a while, and so it was a great way to get out there. So we'd like to see that bid come up a little bit. Come up a lot, actually. It's worth $60. Some of the other ones are about half price right now. The number 412, the tennis court, is at $27. Again, in honor of Leslie and all that she's done for Rotary, and let's see if we can't get that bid up as well. We're down to 40 seconds. We're in the home stretch already. So remember, online, on the phone, keep bidding. If you really want that item, make sure you keep bidding, keep getting your, keep looking at your computer to see where you're at. And we're going to be having the screen up shortly of who our potentially successful bidders are.
Well, what we're seeing here is the community coming together through the Rotary TV auction and giving an opportunity for people to support us and get some great values. Here we
So
go.
we have a phone ringing. Yes.
There we are.
Thank you
Okay,
so
I
much.
recognize that sound. Here we go, and that's
And
it.
this is it.
Done.
My goodness.
Okay, another
goes so
turn
fast.
the page. We're
For all
making
of our
progress.
audience out there, you have no idea what it's like to sit here and not like jump up and down and try and get you to bid. But anyway, thank you so much for your bids, everyone. And we can see the board lighting up as the seconds were winding down. So I think people are catching on. It's the very beginning. And
As soon as you said the warehouse, in my memory of being in those phone banks and watching, now let's go to the warehouse.
Right?
There would be, you just brought back some good
Yes.
memories. But it raises a lot of funds. So what are the funds, what is your target this year? So let people know that, here's how much Rotary is aiming for, and then where do the funds go?
So in the past, so this is our 12th Mega Rotary Auction. So prior to it being the Mega Auction, it was run by the City of St. Catharines. Certainly not the same success as the Mega Auction is. So there's Rotary St. Catharines, Welland, Fonthill, Niagara Falls Sunrise, and Fort Erie. And so it's basically 6 clubs that come together to do this, which again, many hands make light work, which is really great. Over the past 11 years of the Mega Auction, we've raised $1.8 million.
Wow.
Which is a large amount of money. We realize this year will be a little bit different. We aren't anticipating that we will raise the same amount as we normally do. We're certainly missing a huge component this year in that we aren't getting any sporting tickets.
Right.
And that's usually a huge generator
Right.
of funds. So thankfully, a lot of the local professionals have gone out and they've bought gift certificates to local restaurants, and they've donated that as items, which is really awesome because that's supporting our local community in 2 ways. One, we're now visiting with the local establishments, and 2, you're raising money to give back to the community. So we've been very fortunate there. So if we don't really have a goal, there's not a set amount of money we're hoping to make. We have just over 1,400 items. There's some amazing stuff. Inniskill and Wines has donated a barrel cellar dinner for 10. It's a value of $1,500.
Wow.
There's some incredible jewelry. We were at the warehouse taking pictures, and I'm not gonna lie, we may have tried on a few things. And like I said, there's lots and lots of gift certificates to local restaurants and different retail stores and that sort of thing. So we're certainly encouraging people, go online. You're gonna be buying these things anyways as holiday gifts. So instead of spending $100, spend the $100 through Rotary. The store still gets the $100, and we're also making money off of it.
Right. And so do people have to pre-register to sign up for the auction, or do they just go in on the date of the auction? How do people get involved if they're watching at home right now?
So the Mega Rotary TV Auction.ca is the website. It will go live on November 18th. You can go in and you can view all of the items ahead of time. On November the 25th, you can go on and start bidding. So we're suggesting people log in, sometime after the 18th, and they can register to bid and get themselves set up, have a look, maybe start making a list of the things that they're interested in bidding in. So online bidding opens November 25th, and then the auction goes live here in the studio December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So it'll be from 6 p.m. to midnight on the Thursday and Friday, and then 3 p.m. to midnight on the Saturday. And so people can also call in at that time during the live bidding in those 15-minute segments, and they can make bids that way.
Okay, so it is very much, it's the contact points are both online and in person.
Correct.
Your TV Niagara is having the studio set up. It'll have that festive flair that they have
will.
always brought
Yes.
to these kind of
Yes.
these kind of events that we're marking. And so, in terms of the giving back part, just so we can encourage people to get to the website and to watch on, I think it's December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Where are some of the places that Rotary gives back to?
So each club has their own giving. We give back to the community, local community, as well as internationally. Some of the notable things I know Chris mentioned earlier was a sanitization system for the Niagara Health Center, which was amazing in that it was a joint venture between the St. Catharines Club and the Welland Club. We pooled our money together. We did a global matching grant through Rotary International, paired with a club in Bolivia. And then we were able to bring $85,000 into the city to purchase a machine that was made in Niagara and donated to Niagara. So, I mean, that's a huge success story. And those are the sort of things that we really try to do. Additionally, the Rotary Club of St. Catharines has made a donation to help with the accessibility of the playground at Happy Ralph's. Niagara Falls clubs have done things like donated a refrigeration truck for Project Share, and there's been a van donated to the Warehouse for Hope, and countless equipment items donated to the Niagara Children's Center.
Yeah.
And I mean, those are just a few things.
And that's where the money goes. That's
is.
where, and I think that's the important part of Rotary and the service above self is when you think of the Rotarians, they're all members of our community. They're from all different professions and walks of life. And what they've done over the years is just really created the opportunities so that they can give back and our community can give back in many different ways. And the TV Mega Auction is one of those holiday traditions for so many people. So you've got the Celebration of Lights from Niagara Health Foundation. You've got Rotary's TV Mega Auction, which is December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. These are ways you, as members of our community, can give back, and you can help support the local retailers. You can help support the healthcare system by participating in the TV auction as well. So as we head into December, I hope you've had a wonderful November. It's been a bit of a challenge for many, many, many folks, but as we work together as a community, we're getting through all the challenges that face us. So until the next episode of Our Home with Mayor Sendzik, which you will see probably a festive sweater on me, have a great day. Take care.